As the film starts, the world is in chaos, and citizens are outraged that notorious convicted criminal Dr. Light has escaped prison and is now on a deadly spree. Elsewhere, there are tensions between Bialya and Pakistan nations. The disturbing news are spread across the televisions, and people are wondering where the superheroes are. A while later, Clark Kent and his girlfriend from the Daily Planet, Lois Lane, are strolling through the streets of Metropolis, trying to choose matching outfits just as any other new couple. Clark is about to sneak in a cheeky kiss, but they hear an explosion a few yards away. Just then, a villain named the Atomic Skull appears, wreaking havoc and turning people to dust. Clark changes just in time to meet him, and their fight rages through the city. Skull claims he attacked the citizens just to get Superman's attention, and Superman hits him with an electric pole and subdues him. He then flies off with the villain, leaving the adoring citizens cheering him on, while Miss Lane prepares the newspaper headline. Meanwhile, a new group of supers named the Elite fly into the city, hoping to meet the renowned superhero. Later, Superman is questioned about why he failed to end Skull's career after all his violence, but Superman claims he is no judge or executioner. He claims people do have a potentially good side, and his purpose is to help people reach that potential. His speech is interrupted by the leaders of Bialya and Pakistan, who blame each other for the violation of a peace treaty, and they declare war on each other. Therefore, Superman takes it upon himself to help in returning peace between the two countries. He then flies off to Bialya, where he witnesses the deployment of a Pakistani bioweapon in form of creatures which attack and destroy most of the Bialyan military forces. As Superman tries to remove the Bialyan soldiers from danger, the Elite arrive and help him in destroying the creatures. Superman meets the guys who helped him, but they vanish before he gets to know them, since their leader, Manchester Black, is afraid one of them is a fanboy. Superman then returns to Metropolis, where the news reporters are eager to know more about the new guys. The Daily Planet boss also allows Kent to write the article, since he appears to know much about them. Lois reports that some lady in England went online claiming he knows about Superman's new best friends, so Superman flies there with Miss Lane to meet her. On arrival, Lois goes alone to knock on some doors, while Superman watches from afar, as the lady reveals to some journalists about how he raised the rascal Manchester Black. Just then, Black joins him, and he introduces himself as an aspiring do-gooder, and they find a quiet place to talk. Elsewhere in Stryker's Island Penitentiary, the captured villain, Atomic Skull, is having his energy sucked to provide electricity for the city. Later, Superman formally meets the Elite group members consisting of Manchester Black, who has telekinetic powers, a British accent, Coldcast, a sorcerer named Hat, and Menagerie, or Pam. Black then telepathically shows Superman how when her little sister almost got hit by a train, Black miraculously stopped the train with his mind, which is how he got his powers. He was later summoned by His Majesty's Secret Service to fight bad guys, and later met his other friends during a tour in Africa. Just then, Black hears screams, which is actually from a subway train attack by some terrorists. The Elite and Superman then team up to rescue civilians on the train. Manchester almost kills the terrorists while interrogating them, but Superman stops him. Pam also sneaks a kiss at Superman, which is later received harshly by his girlfriend Lois, but Superman claims she was just overexcited. Lois also researches on Black's story, but there are no such records of her sister, but they do find his files working for the government. Later that night, Manchester, the Elite group leader, broadcasts a message to the planet, announcing that the Elite are the good guys and they intend to turn all bad guys into memories. He claims that the world asked for superheroes, so now they got them. The citizens love themselves a shining knight, but Superman isn't quite amused. Superman then takes Lois to his Fortress of Solitude, where he scans his robots for information about the Elite. His system fails to find any information on the team, and he learns that they are broadcasting their messages while hiding through different dimensional channels, which is hard to track. Later, Superman flies off to Bialya, where he is hit by a neutrino energy pulse and he falls down weak. Some soldiers find him and are about to attack him, but he is rescued by the Elite and teleported to their base of operations where he recovers. Black then takes him on a tour inside their ship, which is a sentient macroorganism named Bunny that ducks between universes. Superman tells Black that killing the bad guys is not an act of heroism, but Black claims that they're wiping the world clean. Superman says he won't allow it, but it falls on deaf ears, and they unceremoniously teleport him back to Earth. Later, a mysterious lady named Vera, who is Manchester Black's brother, hands Lois a flash drive claiming the world needs to know what they're dealing with, and how the people hired to work for the Queen have had their history wiped. Vera also reveals that her brother Black is misguided, and since he once saved her life, she would like to save his. Later, Atomic Skull breaks out of prison and returns to attack people out in Metropolis, but he is soon greeted by the Elite. Superman joins in and teams up with the Elite, and together they defeat Atomic Skull. Superman asks that they return him to prison, but Black and the mob want him executed, so Black executes him. Later, the Elite have become the new fan favorites, since the citizens prefer them to Superman, and Manchester Black trends on Twitter. The Elite also visit Superman and inform him that fixing the world is their problem, and they disappear. Following this, Superman destroys the weapons in Bialya, but he soon learns that the Elite have killed both the Pakistani and Bialyan leaders. This angers Supes, and he punches Black, but the Elite members stop his attack and they leave after terming Superman as their enemy. Lois is worried for Superman, who is up next on the Elite's list, but he vows to stand up for humanity's sake. Following this, the Elite show up with their giant ship on Earth, ready to take on Supes, and Superman asks to fight them away from the civilians. Bunny then teleports both parties to the moon and broadcasts the fight worldwide. The Elites, Coldcast, Menagerie, and Hat attack Superman and he fights back, but he is brought to his knees by Manchester Black's telekinetic attack, while the world watches in shock. Black begins to mock Superman's kindness as he lays weak, and Coldcast unleashes a massive blast of electromagnetic energy, which seems to obliterate Superman with only a piece of his cape left. Miss Lane also watches in despair from home, while the Elite rejoice. Suddenly, as the Elite are about to leave, they hear Superman's voice, though he is invisible, taunting them, and he says he made the mistake of treating the group like normal people. Superman then begins to take the Elite on, one by one in a flash, and starts by injecting Menagerie with a poison which weakens her. Superman then creates a huge whirlwind which suffocates the Hat, leaving Coldcast and Black in a sea of panic, wondering how he could have survived. Manchester Black then orders Bunny to teleport them out of there into Earth, where he plans to use the civilians as cover. Suddenly, Coldcast gets snatched mysteriously, where an invisible Superman tells Black that he threw Coldcast into the orbit Mach 7. Superman then appears with red eyes and tells Black that if he had super hearing, he could hear the pop of his friend in the orbit. Black attacks Superman for killing his team, but Superman, who is now on steroids, evades his attacks and he uses his heat vision to find a weakness in Black's brain and cuts off his powers. As Black is staring at his grave, he tells Superman that he shouldn't be the killer, unless he becomes no different than his team. Black claims that everyone on Earth saw how Superman killed the Elite, just like they do, but Superman says he will never be like them. Superman then reveals he used his robots as backup to protect the citizens during the fight, since he knew the fight would destroy things around. He also reveals that the Elite were not killed, but have been transported to the Fortress of Solitude, where they will be stripped of their powers and sent to a Supermax prison. Superman then vows to never stop fighting for justice, and the civilians cheer on him as Manchester Black is sent away by the Superbots. He also claims to have used the Elite's ship, Bunny, which agreed to help him teleport during the fight after one of Superman's robots promised to return the ship to its rightful home. Later, Superman flies off with his lover, Miss Lane, bringing the thrilling film to an end. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to our channel. I'll be back with another interesting movie recap. Until then, take care.